Allow me to extend a warm welcome to all the viewers on the internet and around the world. It is sunrise on YouTube, morning on Facebook, noon on Twitter, midday on Threads, afternoon on Twitch, sunset on Instagram, and evening on Rumble. I am your host, the Ancient One, the Bachelor Supreme, the Phantom Menace, he who remains, and the master of the deceptive arts. We are broadcasting live directly from the sanctum of solitude and the citadel at the end of time. Hello everyone, it's the Ancient One again, the Bachelor Supreme. Still no fantastic type of intro. I might just leave that issue alone. I'm still broadcasting live from the sanctum of solitude. Haven't left, haven't made a move. What I have, though, is another topic, another video. And this video is about why being good with women is bad for bachelors, right? Or why dating and relationships are bad for bachelors. So this one has a bit of a backstory. It starts. So I was on Instagram, as many of us are, all day, all night long. Truly addicts, and don't deny it. And I came across a clip from a very old show called "How I Met Your Mother." Yes, How I Met Your Mother is an old show, right? And if you think How I Met Your Mother is a new show, it's just exposing that you are now middle-aged. So in this particular clip, there are three characters. We have Ted, the protagonist, who is himself a bachelor, but a knee bender. Then you have Marshall, who is married and the ultimate knee bender. And then you have Barney, played by Neil Patrick Harris, the classic bachelor character. A bit flamboyant for my taste, but, he does serve his purpose and plays his role very, very well. So the three characters, Barney, Marshall, and Ted, are sitting at their local bar and they're having a debate. And they're arguing about who has the most game. Right? If you've been online long enough, I'm sure you've come across that that clip. So what happens is Barney, the bachelor, claims that he has more game because he has bedded more women and had more intimacy. Ted, who is somewhat conflicted, claims he has more game because he is the more romantic and the more affectionate of the two. And both of them are completely wrong. Marshall, who happens to be ironically correct, says that he has more game than either one of them, despite the fact that he hasn't bedded nearly as much women or been in as many relationships as either Ted or Barney. And he correctly asserts that he, in fact, has the most game because if dating is the game, then marriage is winning the game, right? For the benders, this might be absolutely true, but for the bachelors, the opposite is true. If marriage is winning the game for benders and losing it for bachelors, then the winning move for bachelors is not to play the game at all, which means the winning move for you is not to be good with women, right? Not to be the charming player, Casanova type. This would be catastrophic for bachelors, all right? So having made that point, that the end game of dating, the purpose of this endeavor, right, is marriage. Let me give some more detail about the purpose of dating. I believe that dating is, in fact, for young people who have decided to seek out their own life partner by themselves rather than going through the courting process that involves family and relatives coming together, sometimes even in arranged marriages. The individual will decide that they will go seek out their own life partner by themselves and find someone to marry on their own merit. Now, this is for young people, right? Dating is for young people that are looking for a partner to share a life with, right? So I would assume the ideal age in legal terms would be from age 21 to somewhere around 25, 26. I'm assuming you're doing this to get married, so you don't want to be in your late 30s when you get married. You're sharing a life, right? Now, we all know that the marriage will be over in less than 10 years, but the idea, right, the belief, the purpose, the philosophy of dating is such that you will do it when you're young. You will find someone young. You will then share life with that person, get married, have kids, and raise that family and be fruitful and so on and so forth. That's not going to happen. That's absolutely not going to happen. You're going to be divorced in no time at all after going bankrupt, right? So for bachelors, this is a no-go zone, right? This is absolutely out of the question. You're gonna play the game just to believe that you're winning, only to find out in the end that you're gonna lose, and you're gonna lose heavily, right? On the opposite end, women, I find, are completely obsessed with relationships, right? I find that women are all the way in for when it comes to relationships. And I believe the reason for that is that men tend to be a resource for women, right? Men will spend a tremendous amount of money in and for and about the relationship. And part of that, there is a mental side to this, right? In that relationships for men, when you are in a relationship and you make that commitment, which you should not do, you should not be giving away your commitment for a date, right? For a something that's barely more than a friendship. You should be protecting your commitment heavily. But once you do give away that commitment, it activates the inner simp, it activates the chemical reaction that creates this sensation known as love. And we spoke about this in another video, where love is described as a chemical reaction happening in your brain, clouding your reality. Right? So when you've given that commitment, it activates this chemical in your brain, bringing forth your inner simp, your destructive, your self-destructive inner simp, who is then the first thing that simp is going to do is he is going to rummage through your finances, buying any manner of nonsense, from flowers to chocolates to gifts to jewelries to makeup, and ultimately paying those bills, which you should not do. Do not, and I mean do not, pay the bills for anyone. You should only be paying your bills until you are married to that person. On the day, on the express day that you sign the marriage contract, the assets combining contract between you, your spouse, and the legal government, the national government of your country. Until you have signed that contract, you should not be paying anybody's bills at all. But the inner simp, the mental illness that is simping, will induce you to do this, right? It'll induce you to start spending your money and your resources on a counterpart that who, they could wake up on the wrong side of the bed and leave, end things, cause destruction on the way out. Like, you don't know what will happen. With girlfriends and relationships end all the time. Marriages end every day. So do relationships, right? So you can't rely on your inner simp. On the other hand, if you've already had your vasectomy, if you've already been protected, right, you may want to indulge in relationships for, personal connection, bonding, and whatnot. But that poses a myriad of dangers all by itself. You could very easily trigger the commitment emotion into someone, and they may want something more real, something more concrete, a true commitment, which which is completely against the bachelor life, right? You don't need a commitment. This is another thing, right? Women require a commitment. They require an investment. You have to have skin in the game because they do. They risk their safety. If you get them pregnant, they risk their bodies, their future, their income, everything. Everything hinges on them getting pregnant, having a child. It is the ultimate sacrifice for women. They'll never be asked to sacrifice anything more than giving childbirth. It could kill them, to be honest with you. For many years, the number one killer of women was, in fact, childbirth. So, I mean, modern times have completely changed and fixed that, but it's still a dangerous, risky thing, right? To give birth to a child successfully. Now we do it more often, we do it more successfully, but still there is an element of danger. Something can go wrong. So, a woman requiring a commitment in order to make that sacrifice is perfectly understandable and perfectly normal, unless you have a vasectomy. Now you should go and get your vasectomy, because that vasectomy changes the whole scope of this dynamic, right? This is not to say that you should now start being good with women just because you have a vasectomy, because it's expensive, right? That commitment that I mentioned that women want, it comes with a tremendous expense in housing, resources, food, clothing, shelter, transportation, entertainment, so much entertainment, and so on, right? So that expense will, to some great degree, in fact, not to some, to a great degree, it will fall on you. Men, as the prognosticator implies, are generally judged on their ability to support other people. You are judged on your ability to support a family, an extended family, to entertain friends and their friends, and keep going with your money. And it's going to break you. It is going to break you. Like, supporting yourself is one thing. Supporting yourself and another person, because they make it sound as if, you're just supporting that person, when in truth is, when you get into a relationship, and you take on the large portion of the bill, you're not supporting one person, you're supporting two. You're supporting yourself and them. And if you add a child, it is now three people on one income. You're not going to pull this off with this economy. No way. No way you're going to do that. So if you get into a relationship, you have to know it is going to be a tremendous investment in resources, time, money, your patience, your strength, your knowledge, your information. It's all going to be poured into one person. Now, when you're a bachelor, you generally have a lot of time. I'm able to do these videos because I have the time. and I can commit to doing more tomorrow and the day after because I have the time. A lot of bachelors will see that as an indication of saying, well, since I have so much time, let me then go and get into a relationship. And what will happen is you'll go from having a lot of time or too much time to not having enough time at all. Because now you're spending all of your time working, doing the things that you have to do, and all of your free time working on the counterpart, doing things that they have to do, and you have little or no time for yourself, which is really why people in relationships gain weight. They get fat because you have to be like, again, day after day after day, killing it in the gym. And if you're working out over and above going to work, living, doing everything, if you're doing 30 minutes of cardio, running, and you're hitting weights and other things, an hour or so every day, after that exercise, you're exhausted. After you work out, you don't have the energy to stay up late and have conversations or the energy to go out afterwards. You're tired, right? And you won't be able to put in that work in the gym and go out and celebrate life, right? Some people can, but all you're going to do is destroy the gains that you made by eating unhealthy restaurant food, which is expensive, drinking watered down bar drinks, but they're still loaded with empty calories. So, that's also just going to be expensive. And you're going to be eating fast food, right? I have experience in the nightlife, not a lot, but enough to know that you're going to be hungry later on and everything is going to be closed. So you're going to need to get whatever you can get, and it's usually going to be empty calories. So you're definitely going to be putting on weight, and living an irregular life is going to mean that you don't have the regular schedule to go to the gym and be successful. So, relationships are a complete no. And there's a whole psychological aspect to what happens to a man when he gets into a relationship. A reduction in testosterone, you're not as aggressive, you're not as ambitious, you slow down to accommodate the needs of others, where in the past you would just cut through whatever the problems are. You now have to work your way around, exercise some sensitivity, exercise some empathy, sympathy if necessary. I mean, these are all very soft emotions, right? These or mental concepts like, feeling sorry for somebody means that you have to lower yourself now to where they are because they're down. So you got to lower yourself to their depth and then show that you know, relate to what they're feeling somehow. And it can be exhausting. It can be exhausting to somebody who is looking to go high, but you are stuck with somebody who keeps looking at the lowest depth that they can reach, right? And it's like, well, are we gonna do this every day? Every day we're gonna have to find a new depth, something new to cry over, and it can be frustrating for bachelors, right? The 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 emotional attunement that you need to make a relationship work with a counterpart is completely unnatural to men. If you spend enough time with men by themselves in isolation, what you notice is as soon as a woman enters the room, their entire situation changes, the entire dynamic circumstance changes to accommodate that woman, right? So this could be for many reasons. I mean, she could walk out and accuse all of you of whatever. She could walk out and lie about you, which she probably will anyway. You know, I don't trust a counterpart, not for one little bit, not one single word that comes out of their mouth. Not a compliment, not a criticism. Means nothing to me. But for benders, it means everything. The words, if a counterpart approves, the bender approves. If a counterpart disapproves, the bender disapproves. So I don't put much, you know, power or validity into anything that a counterpart says, but a lot of benders do, right? So you have to take that into consideration. And also, your counterpart comes with like other people. So, they have family, they have friends, they have ex boyfriends, they have men in the periphery, women in the periphery. All kinds of things comes with a person, right? There's there's an old Asian proverb that says in Asia, you don't marry the girl, you marry her family and everyone that's in it, right? Grandparents, great grandparents, uncles, cousins, nieces, nephews. And these nephews, let me tell you something about these nephews, they are problematic. In and out of jail, all kinds of crimes. They still think they're young. They're watching too many rap videos thinking that they're going to be gangsters when the rappers themselves are not gangsters. But that's neither here nor there. You don't want to find yourself now having to be following up the disastrous act of some nephew who can't get his act together, or some niece who's, pregnant again. And now you have to go to another function where you have to not just spend the petrol, the time, the effort, the resources. You got to pay and buy gifts and all kinds of stuff. Now, listening to me, you can tell I'm exactly the kind of person that shouldn't be in a relationship. And I say to every bachelor, know thyself, know yourself. Not every man belongs in a relationship. Not every man should be cuddling and being in love under the influence of the drug called love, the chemical reaction called love, bringing out the innocent. This isn't for everyone. It's not meant to be for everyone. But for so many benders, they can't see themselves living in any other way. So relationships is something that they think they need. But using Marshall's wisdom from the anecdote that we started with, if you play this game, you're only headed in one direction, and that's either marriage or child support court, which is pretty much the same thing, right? This is the law making you support a woman and child. That's what marriage is, that's what child support is. And they would be right to do so because you should have got your vasectomy. And I'm going to be preaching this message every day, and I'm going to be drilling it home so that when you do get somebody pregnant, you'll know in the back of your mind you should have got that vasectomy. And I hope you do feel kind of dumb because you have the solution in your hand being given it to you, and you're deciding to prioritize other things. And don't say you don't have the money. If you have medical insurance, they might cover it. But if you're going out, if you can go and buy takeaways, and you can go and get drinks at bars and food in restaurants and pay for entrance at nightclubs, right? And call Ubers from one destination to the next destination to the next destination 10 times before you go home. Man, a small sacrifice in good times right now for a few months could give you a lifetime of freedom. You're not missing anything. The same nightclub will still be open in 5 months, 6 months, next year, right? The same girls that are 21 today are going to be 22 next year. They'll be still young and hot. Nothing is going to change. The world isn't going anywhere. The economy is not going anywhere. Economies either go up or they go down, but they don't go anywhere. Women aren't going anywhere. Music isn't going anywhere. Drugs haven't gone anywhere. Since the war on drugs, the amount of drugs that are available in the world is astronomically higher, right? Things are just getting more and more and hopefully better and better. So getting yourself a vasectomy will open you up to a brighter future because these things are not going anywhere and neither are you. So you can continue in this life safe and protected and avoid the pitfalls of these dangerous relationships and this terrible game called dating, and live the bachelor life with peace of mind. I guarantee you, peace of mind. No one else can give you this, right? Not a woman, not a man, not your father, not a religious institution. Only the vasectomy. Only by going through this process will you be strong enough to survive the bachelor life. Only by having the vasectomy can you be sure to travel successfully into eternity and through the bachelor life, regardless of what happens economically. All right, this message is not just for the rich. I don't care if you're rich. I don't care if you're poor, if you're tall or you're handsome or you're a little bit overweight or a lot overweight. If you don't want to have kids, you need to get that vasectomy. You need to prioritize it and get it done. Because if you keep going out there, you keep dating these women, you're only going to ruin your life. You are only going to ruin your life and destroy the bachelor life, which is the best gift that you could ever been given. And you were born with that gift. It is your birthright. The bachelor life is your birthright. Get yourself a vasectomy. This is not a joke, and it's not a suggestion, right? If you still think you want to have kids, freeze your sperm first. But don't be going out there playing this game with no protection. Men are playing the dating game with zero protection, and you are going to lose. You'll think you're winning, like Marshall, getting married, and you'll know you lost when you find yourself out in the street, but you still gotta pay rent to keep your wife and kids in at home. But you are out. You don't want that. You don't need that, right? You don't want to come back to the bachelor life by force, right? You don't want to have to leave the bachelor life by force. You want it to be your choice. That's what freedom means. To be able to make a choice and then change your mind and then change your mind again and then change your mind again after that if you so choose. That's what freedom means. It means full control all the time of your life. That's the end of this video. Bottom line, there's no point in being good in relationships. Thank you guys. Have a good day. I appreciate it. This is the Bachelor Supreme. Have a lovely day.